Hi everybody, my name is Sophie Cooper and I'm the Learning and Participation Lead for Huddersfield Contemporary Music Festival. Thank you for joining us for our latest Artist to Artist Talk, which is a series of conversations where we invite two artists belonging to the HCMF family to get to know each other and discuss their artistic practices. And today we're joined by our current digital artist in residence, who we selected in collaboration with the British Council Indonesia, Rani Jambak. It's been a pleasure to work with Rani over this last month. Very excited to see where her work goes. She's a sound artist, an ecological activist, and she's really interested in the experiences of the environment and the ancestry found within it. She uses lots and lots of field recordings, and her work's very experimental, telling stories about her hometown of Medan in Indonesia. And we're also joined by local legend Supriya Nagarajan, a Bombay-born Indian musician who studied Karnic vocal music from the age of just 5. Supriya is founding member and CEO of Manasamitra, which is an artist organisation based here in Kirklees. She's a prolific collaborator, vocal improviser, and is a mentor to many, including myself, through her work with Manasamitra and Yorkshire Sound Women Network. Thank you both for joining us today. It's brilliant to have you both here. Yeah, no rules for this discussion. Let's just see where it goes, shall we? We're sure you'll be brilliant. Right, I'm gonna I'll see you in about 45 minutes.
What is it that in the last 15 days you've been doing? You did say you have been really busy with it. So What is it that you've been doing?
Yeah, so now I'm in the session of my virtual residency with Huddersfield and British Council. It's been like an amazing journey for me as an artist and as a personnel, because I learned many new things. This time is quite challenging because this is the first time ever I create an artwork with an installation. It's a big installation, and working with many different artists together, because I usually just recording sounds and find interesting story behind the sound, and then back to the studio and I compose the sound, into the new music. But this time I have to set and ask many people, like having a consultation to create the water wheels. Because so before the residency start, I was going around West Sumatra, Minangkabau. So Minangkabau, I've been obsessed with Minangkabau because I've been trying to find my ancestry and my cultural identity, because I was born and raised in North Sumatra, Medan. So having a journey and learning many things about Minangkabau is the most fascinating and exciting for me for the rest of the years. For the last 3 years, sorry. And I was amazed about water wheels. So last year I talked with a lecturer.
Mm-hmm.
He is a communication lecturer, but he interested to talk with me because you love recording sound, and I think you're gonna be interested in about water wheels, because the water wheels has the puzzle. It has like a kinetic system to punch many different materials, and you can see if the puzzle hit different materials, it's gonna give you different sounds as well. I believe you're gonna fall in love with the water wheels. And I was so curious about what the water wheels, and I remember many of different ethnics especially from Sumatra Island. They have lesung to make a floor, for example.
Yeah,
but
we do as well.
Yeah. But it's using a human source, right? Human energy.
Yeah.
But I think it's, oh my God. So my ancestor was kind of futuristic, because they can make the kinetic system, because they only using the water wheels to make the energy for make the floor. And I was like, okay. And I read some sources about Huddersfield. It has a very nice canal in the city.
Yes,
and I'm thinking how to make a connection between Huddersfield and Minangkabau during my residency. Okay, through the water and sound. I was like, okay, the water wheels is the right medium to connect two different culture and places. So yeah, this last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I've been so busy to design, to make a consultation with friends and finding right people to help me to build up the water wheels, the pestle. And the other interesting part is how to also connect with the modern technology, the sensor. So I'm gonna make the water wheels into a live art performance. So the pestle gonna connect with the sensor, and the connection through water and sound. So I already got some sounds materials from Huddersfield by Sophie, and another soundscape that I record around West Sumatra from Minangkabau. I'm gonna mix into one composition.
Fantastic.
And I hope everything's gonna work well, because I have a very limited time now.
It'll work fantastically, Rani. Just listening to you speak, and the passion with which you are exploring the whole idea, because it links to your identity and your heritage. That always brings out passion in people, isn't it? When you want to find out more about your roots, I think you feel passionately, and that will produce good results. And also, this is experimental, right? So what you make is probably going to be one of a long line of things. So this is not sort of the end of a project. You're just starting a project. So I think what will happen is the project will build and it'll become bigger, it'll change shape. I mean, Huddersfield was where one of my projects was born, Lullaby. And I called it Lullaby, the singing bowl at that time, because, the singing bowl and the sound and the sort of meditative spirit of it appealed to me. And it changed and morphed. It started in Huddersfield in 2015 in the festival. And then it changed and morphed, and it now become this whole project that's touring. It's still touring. This is 2022, 7 years down the line. And it has changed and morphed, and I've collected 800 lullabies, new collaborators, new countries. It's still moving. So I think that's exactly what will happen with your project. You'll find new exciting things to change and research and make. And I can't wait to see the pictures, honestly, Rani. I really want, because I see so many links with India as well. I can see the water wheel in my head as a child going through the paddy fields, because paddy is the crop grown in Indonesia as well, and paddy is grown in South India as well. I mean, the water wheel is very familiar to me. Maybe they are the same kind, maybe they are different. I'll be really curious to have a look at the pictures and see whether
of course, I'm gonna
they look the same or they're different. And I'll wait for you to send me some pictures.
I'm gonna share you the pictures. And it's so, that's why I say it's not only how we can develop the creativity, but it's also us develop as a person. And it gives like a long life journey, how we create our own story, and just living our life with the exciting things that we love.
And meeting people. I mean, I've met you now, which is fantastic, because somehow the universes collided. And I was doing a project on water. Sophie, Jacqueline, my colleague, contacted Sophie. I know Sophie, but somehow the connection came through Jacqueline. she introduced me to you, and we had such a lovely discussion on how the possibilities are that we could actually bring the projects together, or even have a version of the project in different way. And I have so many people that are working with me that would be great working with you as well. So I mean, the world is a small place, and I think somehow the universe attracts people with the same energy. So I'm looking forward to doing some water work with you, Rani.
Yeah. I feel so bad because, oh my God, I wish I already can listen the sound that you sent to me 2 weeks ago, but unfortunately I lost it.
I'll resend it. Don't worry at all. I'll resend it, because these absolutely not an issue. So yeah, you will find that will be an interesting experience for you, because my interpretation of water is through Indian vocals and sounds. I love the sound of the marimba for this particular exploration, because the marimba has that single note. There is a beat, there's a percussory beat as well involved. And for me, when the water drips from a certain part, a certain angle and length, the sound is very different. So somehow I could connect to the marimba as an instrument to portray water. So I thought it was a great gig. I mean, I shouldn't be saying that myself of my own gig, but I loved it. I enjoyed being in the space and playing the gig. So I'll resend it to you, and you can have a listen, definitely.
Thank you. Yeah, I listened to your music 2 weeks ago after our chat, our session together, and I was like, oh my God, I can feel the different energy, the different spirit through your music, and I was like, because we talk about, oh my God, I felt so inspired by you, because we are in different era. I mean, different generation, and I was struggling with how to make my parents believe that I'm choosing music for my life. It's like a long trouble of my life. It's getting better now, but after meeting you 2 weeks ago, it brings like much more energy for me to keep. Okay, I'm standing by my own foot and believe with myself, believe what I love, and I think music is just like a different spiritual things, I think. Because it's not only the thing that we can hear or listen, but during the development of creativity, we also develop as a person, and also we can reflect about many values in this life just through music.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's why I feel like, okay, Supriya is my big inspiration now.
Go for it, Rani, because I was listening to you speak, and I know personally how difficult it is to battle. When you're young, it's an uphill. It seems like an uphill struggle, but if you stay with it and you're passionate and you go with it, in time you'll realize that nothing else really matters. Because if you were doing something to please somebody else, you will lead an unhappy life till the very end. What's the point? Because you have this one chance to give the world something and take from the world the energy. And also, I've been in a different world, in a corporate world, and the kind of energy and the people that attracts is different from the kind of people and energy that my music attracts. And I'm very happy in the musical world. So I was never that happy in the other world. So I know from personal experience that doing what I love is giving me the best life that I could possibly have. So go for it. I totally stand by your passion and your identity and your culture. You're doing something that ties in deep into you, isn't it? You're exploring part of your culture that you really feel connected to. That's so important. I've been doing that these last 2 weeks. I've come back after 2.5 years. And I've so enjoyed being in the sights and sounds and the smells of India. It's been wondrous. I feel like I've had my India tonic now. So I can now go back to the UK and be inspired and do wonderful things. But I needed this tonic energy.
Of course.
So I feel good now.
Yeah. So refreshed.
Yes. You will feel the same when you go back home and see family and feel the spirit. So are you? Is it the month? Is it Ramzan now? Isn't it?
Sorry.
Is
Ramadan?
Ramadan now? Is it Ramadan now?
Yeah.
And you will celebrate, when is Eid? What date?
In May 2nd.
Okay, not long then. Only 3-4 days. Wow.
Yeah.
And is this the first visit back?
The first visit back, what does it mean?
Back after your wedding?
Oh, no. So after my wedding, I spent many weeks in my parents' house.
Right.
Yeah. Just because I don't want to make my parents really shocked about the new condition where my sister already moved to Jakarta and now I'm married and I don't want to make them like how can we live without our kids or something like that. Okay, I will spend a few weeks in my parents' house, and then because I have to go to West Sumatra because of the water wheels, I have to meet many people here. So last week I moved to West Sumatra, so now I'm in West Sumatra in my husband's house. And I really feel connected with my ancestral land now, because now I'm living like directly in front of the mountain.
Oh, so nice. Lovely.
Yeah, and it's completely different situation in my parents' house, because my parents' house is like more in coastal area, so it's completely hot, and now I'm freezing because it's completely cold. but
wonderful.
Yeah, but it's interesting because I adjust the temperature easily, although it's still freezing for me, but I'm getting used to, and I feel so calm because my husband's house is in a village. In front of the house is paddy fields.
Oh, how lovely.
And I can see the mountain. So in this area I can see 2 mountains.
Fantastic. That is probably the most difficult kind of thing, really. To have the possibility of being with nature in such close waters. We all love nature, isn't it? You will, when you get to Huddersfield, I'm going to be optimistic here and say, when you get to Huddersfield, you'll really enjoy the natural landscape, because just outside Huddersfield, there's loads of options. You'll love it.
I already fall in love after seeing pictures in internet, and I cannot wait to have my own chance to go to Huddersfield and see with my own eyes.
And you should seriously consider the PhD in Huddersfield, because I think you'll enjoy. In a sense, Huddersfield is a mid-sized town. It's not a huge city where you can get lost. And it's not too small a place where nothing happens. There's a lot of music happening, a lot of social life. I've been in the area for the past 21 years. I enjoy being, and the area, by the area, I mean the extended area. So Huddersfield is a town, but then just outside, there are many little towns, and the entire region is, there's a lot of canalways. You'll love that. There's a lot of, forested areas, hills, woods, walkways, loads of lovely spaces. And the university, I think personally, is compact and the right size, because it's not too big, not too small. You have personal attention. Wow. I absolutely love the place that I live in. So you've been working on water wheels. Is there anything else that you've been working on recently?
Me and my friend, she's from India, but now she's living in Germany, in Berlin. We are now setting up a website and some program about a podcast and a mixtape about rewilding. So it's more ecological things as well. So yeah, we are now still still working on the theme of each episode for the podcast, and maybe in the middle of May we're gonna start recording and making an interview for the podcast. But yeah, for now I'm spending most of my time with the water wheels because
I will after this call introduce you to an ensemble called Shoal Ensemble. They're based in Manchester, and they are doing a big rewilding project. And so there'll be a good connection in case you want to speak to the people. There'll be a good connection for you to have. I'll send you an introduction to Lucy, who's a good friend of mine, a great collaborator. I work with her loads. And she's part of the Shoal Ensemble. And I will make an introduction so that if there is anything with the rewilding project that you want to check with her, talk to her, you can do that as well. So that's interesting. I'm working on, like I mentioned, Terrarium, which is the water project, which is about micro worlds and water stories, which ultimately is going to be part of Kirklees 2023 Year of Music. I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm also going to be traveling outside a bit. I'm doing some work in Portugal in May. I'm doing a project called the art. Well, it's known as Kama Rasa. Kama is love, and Rasa is emotion. So the emotion of love is a show I'm doing with Casada Musica in Portugal, where I'm exploring love in its different forms. And one of the things that love is about loving nature. And how we should learn to love nature because she protects us and looks after us, nurtures us. So one of that is about love of God, love between a mother and child, love between two humans, that kind of thing. So I'm exploring that whole concept of love in Portugal, and then doing some work with a Tibetan ensemble in Australia in June, July. Also meeting my grandchild. So that's more exciting for me. Meeting my grandchild is more exciting for me than working
Family time.
Family time. Yeah. So I'm going to the Gold Coast. And then, Year of Music is going to be the most exciting future work over the next couple of years, and the water stories. So I'm really looking forward to doing some of that work with you.
Yeah. Cannot wait too. So I did an interview yesterday, and the guy asked me why you choose to make an ecological campaign through your music. And I feel like I say to him, like, everyone should make a habit and give the information how to respect our nature and how to reconnect with our nature. And because I'm an artist, I'm a musician, so the closest thing that I can do, my best thing that I can do to share this information is through my music. And I'm curious, what about your journey, about the ecological thing and your musical journey?
Yeah, for me, I mean, growing up in India has meant that nature has been very close to me, whether it's in the house, if you move out of any major city in India, it's all countryside and paddy fields and nature and temples and that kind of culture. So I have grown up in that, and I now live in a town like Huddersfield, which is close to nature again. So I'm, walking in the park or walking in the woods or walking by the canal side is special. And I personally have a very close link with water. I love the sound of water. I love the sound of the sea. I love the sound of the river, the rain. It just holds a special place in my heart. But it's not only ecology or activism that inspires me. I'm inspired by some key things like the last time the Lullaby Project was born out of an inspiration on what actually makes a person go to sleep when they hear a lullaby. Is it the mother's voice, or is it the emotion behind the lullaby, or is it the nature of the construction of the lullaby compositions in different cultures? So that was the question that, so I usually have an inquiry question at the heart of my project. And from there, I develop the links to the project. But of late, I've been drawn to ecology as a theme, and I'm working on a research and development phase for a project on trees at the minute. I'm going to explore how trees grow and what happens. That's something I'm working on at the minute, but that's in a stage that is before, like the water stories are now funded, and I'm starting the project. But the one step behind is the trees project, which is just a coincidence. Before that, I did something called Sound of Tea, where, because I'm a synest, all my senses, I like to explore them through different senses. So smell, touch, everything works together for me. And so Sound of Tea was a very important project because I wanted to explore tea through sound rather than taste and smell and sight and that kind of thing. So that kind of thing drives me, the whole question that rises the heart. So, and then when I started exploring tea, the whole export of tea from the east to the west, what happened, the journey, all that came into play. But it starts with a simple question at the heart. And to be honest, nature does feature predominantly in a lot of my work, because you just feel comfortable being in nature, really. So has that answered your question?
Because of course, the experience, the deep thinking will make a difference, right? And giving so much personal value for each of person. And I feel
absolutely
there are many activists growing. So ecological thing is getting so popular, and I hope people also do something, act something to save our environment and our earth. Do you feel optimistic about this?
I do, because I see a lot of pockets of great work happening around, like for example, people from different walks of life. It's not musicians, dramateurs, theater artists, but not only the arts, but even others. For example, and the bank that I was working with has a program called Earth Watch. And they sponsor people to go out every year for a month to look after nature in different ways. Like, for example, looking after the manatees in I think it's in America, forests of Brazil. They actually sponsor. And recently, one of my friends who still works for the bank went to Mongolia to save a certain species of insect that are found in the deserts of Mongolia, which are now disappearing, and that kind of thing. So I think people from all walks of life are trying their best, but it is an uphill task, but we can't give up. I think we all have to keep chipping away at it. It's like a sculpture. We have to keep chipping, and then finally, there'll be some semblance of. Because otherwise, if we give up, then what will our future generations do? I mean, we leave behind something that they can't actually, happily inhabit, an earth that they cannot happily inhabit. So we have to do something about it. At least us, if little by little, and if slowly some change will happen. I think it'll be gradual. I am optimistic. I'm always optimistic. Because how else can you be?
Yeah. To spread the positive energy, and it's gonna be something different gonna happen.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, I agree. So
Yeah.
so you're off in a couple of weeks time, and you're off in a couple of days time. So how long is your stay in Medan?
Maybe only for 5 days, and back to West Sumatra soon, because I have to start build up the water wheels in the second week of May. Yeah. And tell me more about the Terrarium project.
Terrarium is a collection of water stories. So I'm inviting stories from India. I'm working with Jaipur Literature Festival. The Teamwork Arts is the parent company, so I'm working with them to help. They are helping me find the people to collect the stories and work, maybe bring it back to them at a future date. I'm working with, like I mentioned to you, there's a musician based in Norway that's got connections in Jakarta, so I'm working with him towards the musical side of things, and I'll work with you. And I'm also working locally in Dewsbury, where I live. We are trying to collect water stories from across West Yorkshire, because that area is prone to flooding, and so just finding out a little bit about people and their links to water, whether it is a deficit of water, whether they come from a land where there's very little water, or whether they come from a land where the water is probably too much at times, and what the repercussions are, and what best practices there are. I'm really wanting to collect this best practices so that it can be shared. So we are then going to create a digital map that will actually have these stories, so people can go in and click on the map. It's like almost it's being made as we speak. And they can click and listen to the story, maybe listen to a song, a poem, and then understand how people's lives are wherever they are. So that is sort of the first leg of the project. I'm sure that, like you were mentioning, the project will take different hues, and it'll grow and morph, and collaborators will come in, universities, all sorts. I mean, for me, I can initiate it and even let it go into the universe and let people take it forward and that kind of thing. So it'll be good to actually start the whole process of in Dewsbury, where I live. I'm really looking forward to that.
That's great. That's great. Wow.
And Dewsbury is not far from Huddersfield at all. So when you come to Huddersfield, you can come and work with us in Dewsbury as well, and spend some time with us as well.
Yeah, sure. I love that. And I just suddenly remember about there are many like old stories about how human connection with the nature. Maybe I think each tradition, or in every tradition, or in every ethnics, they have like an old story, or like a legend story, something. Yeah. Do you remember any stories during your childhood about those things?
Yeah, I mean, in our childhood, I've read the Panchatantra tales, and some of the tales are about rivers drying, and animals starving, and things like that. I mean, nature has been part of children's stories for a very, very long time, and mostly told through the voice of animals and birds, and how they help each other, how when water is in short supply. I remember a particular story where a crane transports a frog on its back because the waters of the lake dry up, and then they take frog to another space where there's water. So it's always encouraged to think that you have to help each other. So that's part of the whole childhood storytelling experience, but also connected with nature, different kinds of trees. What are the names of the trees, different kinds of flowers, flora, fauna was huge part of childhood stories. And there are many stories, especially Panchatantra tales is the one that sticks out in my head, where there's a lot of nature woven into the story. So it's not separate to the story, but it's woven into the story. So you sort of understand it. Do you have the same as well?
Yeah. Like more like the story of, like, for example, how the lake, the legend story of Toba Lake happens, what was happening. So there is a goldfish, so the goldfish and the mom, something like that, and then it's more like a moral story about the connection between kids and parents, and also how to respect the environment, and when once the nature is angry, then it's gonna happen this and this. And I think for now, I don't think kids know those of the story, because it's not that popular anymore. So I think it's
true.
Yeah, I think it's even it's not that documenting well about the legend story, because although it's a legend, but I feel like it's like the local wisdom is in the story, and I think it's really important to document it, to rewrite and retell to the next generation, because although maybe we cannot making any logical things behind those story, but there are many moral and value
Absolutely.
if we want to. So I'm thinking to even the story about the connection between human and nature. I think there are many legend story, old story about it, and I think it's really important to rewrite and retell all of those stories.
Yeah, I mean, recently Jaipur Literature Festival invited me to recite 2 stories. And so my daughter had written a fantasy story about a field of bluebells. She's not a writer or anything. She writing is a hobby. She enjoys it. But she had written the story. So I thought of that story immediately, because it's a story for young people. About 2 fairies flying in the field of bluebells, and how they find that food is missing because trees are in short supply, and that kind of thing. So I sent it to them, and they said, yes, please read it, and got a lot of good response. And it was a very simple story. But the moral of what I'm trying to say is that young people absorb things differently. So if you give them different kinds of things, like this was a fantasy story about fairies and wings, and so, and she likes fantasy stories, so she wrote one. But it was wonderful to see the reception. Young people really liked it. And you're right, absolutely right. I think it is good to refresh these thoughts in young people, and give them the same models and the tradition, but maybe in a new way, or whatever way that they actually. I think it's still people appreciate it. Internet has opened that up, isn't it? People read on the net, people see things on YouTube, animation. So I think storytelling is taking on new hues these days. So I'm looking forward to water stories, and maybe I'll come to you for some water stories. I'll say, Rani, can you give me some water stories from your area?
Sure. It gives me more idea, but because the generation now, I mean, like with my generation or the old generation. Of course, we still have to do something to the environment, to the nature, but how we prepare the younger generation, I think it's really also important to focus on them, to prepare about their perspective. It's how to connect with our environment, because in my what I see, the younger generation is more into gadget and playing games, not really like questioning their own environment, like why the leaf is different with this leaf from this tree, for example, because most of the time they're spending their time in front of the screen, not really. Of course we can learn something from the internet, but I'm afraid they spend much time in gaming and not really learning about building sense of their own environment.
I think we all have a role to play, and like we were discussing 2 minutes ago, I think if we chipped away at it and we all did little, definitely I think there'll be, because there's always going to be those inspirational young people. Whenever I think of young people and very little people, I always think, oh, once upon a time, maybe William Shakespeare was a young boy in a school, and God knows how he was. And, all those Marie Curie, who was a Nobel Prize winner, they were all very young children. Somebody inspired them to do what they did. So, I mean, you never know where we have environmental activists hidden amongst our children. So we can keep talking about it and, bringing them up responsibly and giving them sort of role models to work with. So I think there is consciousness there, and hopefully I'm optimistic, Rani. This is what it is. I'm thinking somehow the right things will connect, and the universe will survive the human onslaught. That's how I feel.
So many works to do to prepare the young generation, and what can you do now? But I really love that I connect with many inspiring people, and it gives me more energy every day. And I really love my life. Oh my God.
That's perfect. That's exactly what you should be. That's the place you should be, loving life. Because why would you do anything you didn't love? So if you love what you do, then it's not work anymore. It's just life. I work 24/7. I tell people I'm in music. I work 24/7 because I don't feel it's work. I mean, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. So how is it work? How is making music or composing music work? Happy. So I enjoy what I do. 24/7. I'm immersed in it. Everything revolves around it, and I'm quite happy being that way, to be honest. I won't have it any other way.
Oh my God, we've been talking so many things, and I also interesting about your trip to Portugal. You said before you're gonna do, but how to love nature. It's really interesting.
I mean, part of the water research was in about the levadas and how the water channels bring water to the terrace farming in Madeira. So that was a very interesting, eye-opening exercise for me. Just like you said, it is our ancestors being very, very clever with what they have on hand. They didn't have mechanized tools and things like that, but what they had, they made good use of it. And so the water supply through the levada system to the terrace farming is superb. There is loads and loads of sugarcane cultivation going on, banana plantations, all brilliant. Water is there, and there's water raining on the top, dry in the bottom, and water flows everywhere. So I was very impressed. I was really impressed. And So I'm going to do some more research on that as well.
Nice. Oh my God. I learned so much from you today.